Hello everyone. If you like this audiobook and want to listen to more, please consider subscribing. And if you like this video, like it as well, that it enjoy.
Kokushibo no more, for now. Kokushibo stood on the roof, his 6 eyes watching the endless river of death below. Zombies, both normal and mutated, were all moving together like a dark tide towards the human camp. It was a terrifying sight, but to him, it was just background noise. His mind was stuck on those bottles of blood. He had gained so much Muzin's blood from them. It was a huge amount, more than he got from hunting for nights. But what made that blood so special? It smelled like the mutated zombies. Thinking of Arya, he remembered how strong she had gotten. It had only been a few weeks, but she was much more powerful. How many people had she eaten to get that strong so fast? Then his thoughts went to a part. When he turned her into a demon, he saw her memories. That wasn't supposed to happen. From what he knew, Muzin could only see a demon's memories when they were about to die. So how did he see Arya's past while she was still new and alive? He remembered her memories clearly. Her father had injected her with a strange virus long before the apocalypse. Her body couldn't handle it. The virus made her blind, erased her memory, and put her in a coma. When he found her, a zombie was eating her stomach. She should have been dead from those wounds. Any normal human would have died. But she was still clinging to life. It wasn't just her potential or will to live. He realized it was the virus. The same virus that broke her was also keeping her alive all those years. When he turned her into a demon, he was able to see the memories of the girl who was lost. But this made him think of her sisters. They were different from normal too. He remembered something from that night. Flashback. Right before he killed them, Kokushibo noticed their bodies were acting strange. He used his transparent world to look closer. Deep inside their bodies, he could see the virus. It was different kind of virus that was in Arya when she's human. And this virus was reacting to the blood from the smashed bottles. It was like the blood or the contents of the bottle was calling to the virus inside them. At that moment, he also sensed Arya nearby. She was leaking killing intent. He was impressed she could already do that after just a few weeks. She had improved a lot. Looking at the two sisters shaking and the virus going crazy inside them, he understood. These girls were already dead in a way. The virus was what kept them moving and thinking. They were like a special kind of mutated zombie. I guess these girls won't survive tonight even if I let them live, he thought. Arya would probably kill them. He decided to test his theory. If they were a new kind of mutant. After he killed them with his sword, his system notified him. Absorption protocol available. He was right. His guess was correct. The two sisters were a type of mutated zombie, different from the others. Then he sensed Arya again. He could feel she was staring at her sister's dead bodies. Was she drooling? The girl was actually drooling over her own sister's corpses. I guess this girl is a real food lover, he thought with some amusement. Flashback end. Now, standing on the roof, it all made more sense. The special contents in the bottles was connected to this virus. The virus that Arya and her sisters had was different from the normal zombie virus. It was stronger, and it reacted to the bottles. It was pure, concentrated version of whatever this special virus was. And that's why it attracted all the mutants. He looked toward the camp again. With all those mutants gathered there, drawn by the scent of that bottle's blood, it would be a perfect hunting ground for him. He could absorb many of them and grow his power even more. The system screen appeared in his vision. Kokushibo template. 100% synchronization. New template downloading. 88.9%. Muzin's blood. 0.40.1%. The progress was still slow, but with so many mutants gathered in one place, he could speed it up. He also wondered about Arya. Was she heading to the camp too? Probably. She might already be there. He gripped his flesh katana. Without another thought, he stepped off the building and began moving toward the camp, his 6 eyes glowing in the dark. The hunt was on, and this time, the prey had gathered themselves in one place for him. Dr. Krenel sat in his lab. He was thinking about the bottles. The ones the two girls stole. A small smile was on his face. Everything was going how he wanted. He had let the girls steal the bottles on purpose. He knew they would take them. He left the door unlocked. He made sure the guards were not looking. It was all his plan. He had lied to General Roberts. He told the general the bottles had special blood from mutated zombies. He said it was for finding a cure. That was not true. The real truth was, those bottles is special. A trigger. The two girls, Kaylee and Exia, already had a virus inside them. He gave that virus to their father, his friend Clav, years ago. He told Clav it was medicine to make his sick daughter strong. It was a lie. The virus did not make them strong. It broke them. It made Arya blind and put her in a coma. It made Kaylee and Exia crazy and violent. It was a failure. But this new serum in the bottles, this was different. It was made to wake up the sleeping virus inside the two girls. If they drank it, or if it got in their blood, it would change them. It would turn them into real monsters. Not just crazy zombies. True mutated zombies. That was what he wanted now. Flashback. 5 years ago. Dr. Krenel was not always like this. He had a son. His name was Eli. Eli was a good boy, but he was sick. His body was weak and frail. He got sick very often. Because of this, the other kids at school bullied him. They called him names. They pushed him. They took his things. Dr. Krenel worked long hours. He was a scientist for a big company. He was not home much. He did not see how sad and depressed his son was. One day, he came home early. He found Eli in his room. Eli had killed himself. Dr. Krenel broke. His heart shattered. He went to the police. He wanted the boys who bullied Eli to be punished. But the boys were all underage. Their parents were rich. Nothing happened to them. They did not go to jail. They did not even say sorry. Dr. Krenel's sadness turned to anger. Then his anger turned to hate. He hated the bullies. He hated their parents. He hated the world that let this happen. He was a scientist. He decided to use his skills. He would make a serum. A virus. Something that could make a weak body strong. Make it powerful. Make it aggressive. So no one could ever bully again. He would fix the weak. But he needed to test it. He could not test it on himself. It was too dangerous. He needed someone else. He remembered his old friend, Clav. Clav also worked in science. Clav had a daughter. Her name was Arya. She was born very sick. Her body was weak. She was frail, just like Eli. Dr. Krenel went to Clav. He lied. He said their company had made a new serum. He said it could cure weak bodies. Make them strong and healthy. He said it was a miracle. Clav did not believe him at first. It sounded too good to be true. But Dr. Krenel kept asking. He kept lying. He said it would save Arya. After many weeks, Clav finally agreed. He was desperate to help his daughter. Dr. Krenel gave Clav the first virus. Clav injected it into Arya. It was a disaster. Arya's body could not handle the virus. It was too strong. Her body couldn't adapt to it. It made her blind and erased her memories. It put her into a deep coma. Clav was furious. He yelled at Dr. Krenel. He said he ruined his daughter. But Dr. Krenel did not stop. He was obsessed. He said it was just the first try. He said he could fix it. He needed to adjust the formula. He asked Clav to let him try again. This time, on the other two daughters, Kaylee and Exia. They were healthier. Maybe their bodies could handle it. Clav was angry and scared. But he was also a scientist. He wanted to fix his mistake. He wanted to believe a cure was possible. So, he agreed. Dr. Krenel made a new version of the virus. Clav injected Kaylee and Exia. This time, it was different. The girls did not go blind. They did not go into a coma. Instead, the virus twisted their minds. It made them angry and violent. A few days after the injection, in a rage, they attacked their own father. They killed and ate him. Dr. Krenel arrived too late. He saw what happened. He had to clean up the mess. He knew his creation was a failure. It did not make people strong and safe. It made them into monsters. His hate grew. He thought of the boys who bullied Eli. They were still out there, living their lives, happy. He found them. There were 3 of them. They were teenagers now. He kidnapped them. He took them to a secret lab. He injected them with new versions of his virus. He experimented on them. He wanted to see if he could control it. One of the boys, the one who was the ringleader of the bullies, was stronger than the others. His body fought the virus hard. One night, he broke free and escaped from the lab. He ran into the middle of the big city. He collapsed in a crowded street. People gathered around him, trying to help. The boy's body changed. His eyes turned blank. He stood up. He was not human anymore. He attacked the person closest to him. He bit them. The virus spread, from that one bite, to another, and another. It moved faster than anyone thought possible. Within hours, the city was in chaos. That was when the zombie apocalypse begun. When the outbreak started, Dr. Krenel was in his lab. He was scared. He saw the news. He knew it was his fault. The virus he made had escaped. It was killing everyone. He tried to hide. He tried to survive. After a few weeks, he was found by soldiers. General Roberts and his men rescued him. They brought him to their camp. The general questioned him. Dr. Krenel was a famous scientist. The general asked if he knew about the virus. If he could make a cure. Dr. Krenel saw a chance. He lied again. He said yes, he could study the virus. He could find a cure. But he needed time. He needed a lab. He needed test subjects. The general agreed. He gave Dr. Krenel everything. He gave him safety, soldiers to protect him, and captured mutated zombies to experiment on. The general's plan was simple. Find the cure, and then control it. Sell it. Be the most powerful man in the new world. Dr. Krenel's own goal was gone. His dream of making a serum to make the weak strong was dead. His son was dead. The world was dead. He had destroyed it. Looking at the ruined world, he felt nothing. No sadness. No guilt. Only a cold emptiness. If the world was already destroyed, he thought, why not destroy it even more? Why should anyone get to live in a world that let his son die? He stopped trying to find a cure. He started a new project. He remembered the first virus he ever made. The one he gave to Claw for Arya. That virus was different from all the zombies. It slept inside the host. It did not turn people into mindless zombies right away. That virus was still inside Arya. And it was inside her sisters, Kaylee and Exia. It was sleeping. What if he could wake it up? Not to make them strong, but to make them perfect destroyers. He worked day and night in his new lab. He experimented on the captured mutants. He studied their blood. He needed to make a trigger. A key to unlock the sleeping virus in the two girls. But to make the trigger serum, he needed a special ingredient. A blood that resisted the normal zombie virus. He found it in the camp. Captain Mark Reynolds had a daughter. She had been bitten early in the outbreak. But she did not turn into a full zombie. Her body fought the virus. It could not fully adapt. She was in a coma, but she was not dead. She was not a zombie. She was immune. Dr. Krenel took her blood. He told the captain it was for research to save her. Another lie. Using her unique immune blood, he finally made it. The trigger serum. He put it in 3 bottles. It was a red, glowing liquid. It smelled like power. It would call to any zombie. But most importantly, it would scream to the specific, sleeping virus inside Kaylee and Exia. He just needed to get it to them. He did not have to wait long. The 2 girls were in the camp. They were survivors. They hated the soldiers here. Especially Captain Lee, who had hurt them. They were looking for a way to get revenge. Dr. Krenel made it easy. He let them hear rumors about his special blood samples. He left his lab door open. He watched them sneak in and take the box with the bottles. He did nothing to stop them. He knew what they would do. They would try to use the bottles to get the six-eyed monster to help them. Of course they would fail. The monster would kill them. But before they died, they would probably drink a bottle. The serum would get on them. It would soak into their skin. It would enter their bodies. And it would wake up the sleeping virus. His plan was almost perfect. The 2 girls would turn into powerful, new kinds of mutants. The general, who was going after them, would be their first meal. The six-eyed mutated zombie that had consciousness would be the second. And the scent of the spilled serum would draw every zombie for miles to this camp. He looked at the clock. It had been hours since the girls stole the bottles. It was almost time. He walked to the window of his lab. He could hear the normal sounds of the camp. Then, he heard it. A low, distant rumble. It was not thunder. It was a sound he knew. The sound of many, many feet. The sound of moaning, growing louder. He smiled. It was starting. A young soldier ran into the lab, his face white. Doctor, something's wrong at the south wall. The guards are reporting movement. Dr. Krenel nodded calmly. I see. More noise erupted outside the lab. Shouting, running. The camp's alarm started to blare, a loud, screeching sound. Boom. An explosion rocked the building. The wall of the lab cracked. Dust fell from the ceiling. The lights flickered. Dr. Krenel did not move. He just stood by the window. A huge crash came from the direction of the main gate. The sound of tearing metal. Then, the screams got louder. Closer. They were not just scared screams now. They were pain screams. Dying screams. He looked out. Chaos. Pure chaos. People were running in all directions. Soldiers were trying to form lines, firing their rifles. But the zombies were coming from too many directions. The fences were down in 3 places. They poured into the camp like a flood. He saw a normal zombie grab a woman and bite into her neck. He saw a mutated zombie, with long arms, vault over a truck and land on 2 soldiers. He saw the camp's lights start to go out, one by one, as generators were overrun. The banquet had begun. This camp had 6,000 people. Soldiers, families, survivors. In a few hours, they would all be dead. Or they would be part of the horde. This place would be a graveyard. One of the higher UPS was yelling at his men, trying to organize a retreat. He did not see the dark shape drop from the roof above him. It was not a normal zombie. It was big. Its skin was tough like leather. It had long, sharp fingers. It was one of the mutants drawn by the bottle's scent. Dr. Krenel watched. He turned and went back into his lab. He closed the door. The sounds of the camp being destroyed were muffled now, but he could still hear them. He sat down at his desk. He looked at a small, framed picture he kept in a drawer. It was a photo of his son, Eli. Smiling. A smile that was gone forever. The world that failed you is ending, Eli, he whispered to the photo. Soon, no one will be left. He put the picture down. He listened to the screams. Outside, the horde grew larger. More zombies came, attracted by the noise, the blood, and the last fading scent contents of the bottle. The camp was a beacon of death. And on the edge of the chaos, unseen by the dying humans, a tall figure with 6 eyes watched. Kokushibo saw the feast and saw his own opportunity. And high on a broken wall, another figure with white hair and a blindfold watched too, her stomach growling. Arya had followed the scent as well. Kokushibo stood on the roof of a tall building near the camp. Below him, chaos reigned. The military camp was being destroyed. Zombies and mutated zombies were everywhere. They were killing people, breaking down walls, and eating everything. It was a perfect hunting ground for him. There were so many mutated zombies here, all in one place. He could gain a lot of Muzin's blood. He was about to jump down and start hunting. He was about to farm the mutants for power. But then, something happened. A blue screen popped up in front of his face. It was his system. It made a loud, alarming sound in his mind that he had never heard before. It immediately grabbed all of his attention. New template download complete. Integration ready. Would you like to activate the new template? Yes, no. Kokushibo stopped. He was completely still. The noise and chaos below him seemed to fade away. He just stared at the blue words. The download was finally done. It had taken so long. He had almost forgotten about it. He focused on the notification. The system showed him the name of the new template. He read it. And he was shocked. He knew this template. He knew this character. From his old world, from the animes and mangas. This character is more terrifying than Kokushibo in completely different way. Without any hesitation, he made his choice. Yes, he said. The change began instantly. His 6 golden eyes, the marks of his demonic power, began to fade. Not just change, they vanished. One by one, they closed and disappeared into his skin, as if they had never been there at all. Where 6 glowing eyes had been, now there was only smooth, unmarked skin. Next was his hair. His long, dark hair with the blood-red tips lost its shine. It became dull and lifeless. His clothes melted away. The fine, dark purple kimono and samurai pants dissolved. In their place, new fabric formed. A modern, dark suit appeared on his body. A white dress shirt and a black tie. Then the real changes started. The changes to his flesh. In the center of his forehead, the bone began to split. It cracked open cleanly, but no blood came out. Instead, cold, gray steel pushed through. It grew out of his forehead, pointing forward. It was installed into his skull. From the back of his head, more metal formed. A hammer jutted out, fused to his bone. His left arm was next. The arm that once held his flesh katana began to harden. The muscles locked and changed shape. They turned into mechanical parts. His fingers fused together. His forearm stretched and elongated. The skin turned to dark metal. In a few seconds, his entire left arm was gone. In its place was an M4 carbine assault rifle. The barrel, the receiver, the grip, it was all one piece, grown directly from his shoulder. It was now a part of his body. The transformation finished. What stood on the rooftop now was something new. He was tall and wore a sharp black suit. His hair was messy and black, falling over his face. His face was now featureless except for the pistol gun barrel sticking out of his forehead. His left arm was a fully formed rifle. The feeling coming from him was completely changed. The heavy, cold, moonlit terror of Upper Moon 1 was gone. Now, the air around him felt colder in a different way. A blue screen appeared in his vision. New template transformation was complete. The Gun Devil. So this is the Gun Devil's power, Aki Hayakawa said. 14 comments 0 vote. Aki Hayakawa. I stood there on the rooftop, the night air thick with the metallic tang of blood and the acrid smoke of gunfire echoing from the camp below. The transformation into this Gun Fiend form, Aki Hayakawa, the Gun Devil template, had left me feeling like a stranger in my own skin. No, not skin, metal, cold, unfeeling alloy fused with whatever was left of my humanity. The barrel protruding from my forehead felt like a third eye, always watching, always ready to spit death. My left arm, now this grotesque M4 carbine extension, hummed faintly, as if eager for the violence to come. Kokushibo's power had been intimate, up close, a dance of blades under the moon's indifferent gaze. This was detachment, distance, a devil's precision engineered for mass extermination. I flexed the rifle arm experimentally, hearing the faint click of chambers aligning. 5% synchronization, the system's words still burned in my mind like a glitchy hologram. Only 5% of the Gun Devil's full potential, and already I felt like I could level a city block without breaking a sweat. But the cap on it, the need to grind through mutated zombie blood to inch closer to full power, felt like a cosmic joke. In Chainsaw Man, 20% of this devil's power had wiped out over 1 million lives worldwide in seconds. Buildings crumpled, skies rained bullets, entire populations erased in a hail of lead. What would 100% do here, in this fractured world? Probably end it all, wipe out every last shambling corpse, every desperate survivor, every flickering spark of life until nothing remained but silence and ruins. The thought sent a chill through my circuits, or whatever passed for nerves now. Overpowered didn't even begin to cover it, and here I was, starting at the bottom rung, farming zombies like some low-level grind in a forgotten game. Why the limit? I'd asked the system earlier, my voice a metallic rasp that echoed unnaturally in the night. Host query. Synchronization cap explained. Full access to Gun Devil template requires progressive integration to avoid system overload. Absorb mutated specimen blood to increase percentage. Standard zombies yield minimal gains, higher-tier mutants provide substantial upgrades. And Kokushibo, that was full sync from the start. Beginner package. Initial template provided at 100% for host familiarization. Subsequent templates demand earned progression for balance. Balance. Right, because turning into a demon swordsman overnight was balanced, but embodying a devil that could end civilizations needed baby steps. Fine, if the path to godhood was paved with zombie guts, I'd walk it. The camp below was a buffet, thousands of undead swarming the crumbling defenses, mutants leading the charge like twisted generals. Time to test this out. I leapt from the roof, the drop a controlled plummet. Wind whipped at my suit, the tie flapping like a noose in the gale. I landed amid a cluster of shamblers, the impact cracking asphalt and sending 2 of them sprawling. No elegance here, no moon-breathing forms to channel. Just raw firepower. I raised the rifle arm, the barrel spinning up with a mechanical whine that cut through the moans. The first burst tore into a pack of normal zombies shambling toward a barricade of overturned vehicles. Bullets, infused with that devilish essence, ripped through rotten flesh, heads exploding in sprays of dark ichor. They dropped like puppets with cut strings, bodies convulsing briefly before going still. Standard zombie eliminated X5. Gun Devil synchronization, plus 0.01%. Total, 5.01%. Barely a blip, like the system said, minimal gains from the fodder. I pivoted, spotting a mutated one, a hulking brute with elongated arms ending in bone scythes, charging a group of survivors huddled behind sandbags. It swung, cleaving through a soldier's rifle like butter. I aimed, fired, the volley stitched across its chest, each impact blooming with explosive force. It staggered, roaring, but I didn't let up, another burst to the head, pulverizing the skull into fragments. Mutated zombie eliminated. Gun Devil synchronization, plus 0.03%. Total, 5.04%. Better, but still a drop in the ocean. The survivors behind the sandbags glanced my way, a mix of soldiers and civilians, their faces smeared with dirt and blood. One soldier, a grizzled vet with a bandaged arm, locked eyes with me. Or tried to. My featureless face probably didn't give much to lock onto. He nodded once, a curt acknowledgement, before turning back to the fray. No thanks, no questions. They had their own asses to save. Some suit-wearing freak with a gun for an arm was just another variable in the apocalypse. Fine by me. I wasn't here for heroics. I pressed forward, the system's pings becoming a rhythmic drumbeat in my skull. Each kill added a fraction, a tease of the power lurking just out of reach. A swarm of lesser zombies poured from a breached fence, dozens, their moans a collective dirge. I swept the rifle arm in an arc, unleashing a sustained burst. Bodies jerked and fell, limbs severed, torsos ventilated. It was like mowing grass, if grass screamed and bled. Standard zombie eliminated x12. Gun devil synchronization. Plus 0.02%. Total. 5.06%. Not enough. I needed the big ones. Spotting a cluster of mutants tearing into a command tent, acid spitters melting canvas and flesh alike, I charged. The forehead barrel fired first, a precise shot that cored one spitter's gland, causing it to erupt in a backfire of corrosive goo that melted its own face. Mutated zombie eliminated. Gun devil synchronization. Plus 0.10%. Total. 5.16%. The others turned, hissing. I unloaded, bullets tracing glowing arcs in the dark. One with tentacle whips lashed out, but I sidestepped, the rifle arm barking in response. Tentacle shredded, body following suit. Mutated zombie eliminated. Gun devil synchronization. Plus 0.08%. Total. 5.24%. A bone-armored tank barreled through, shrugging off initial hits. I adjusted, aimed for joints, weak points glowing in my enhanced vision like target overlays. Rounds punched through, cracking armor, until it collapsed in a heap. Mutated zombie eliminated. Gun devil synchronization. Plus 0.20%. Total. 5.44%. The pings kept coming, each one a tiny victory in a sea of fractions. 20% in Chainsaw Man had global kill counts in the millions, tsunamis of bullets from nowhere, erasing lives en masse. Here, at 5%, I was already turning the tide in this pocket of hell. But full sync, 100% would be apocalyptic. Wiping out every zombie, every human, every scrap of life in this world without breaking a sweat. The power scale was insane, no wonder the system gated it behind this grind. 1% felt like eternity at this rate, killing hundreds, thousands, and barely nudging the needle. I moved deeper into the camp, the rifle arm never cooling. A family dashed across my path, pursued by a pack. I cleared them with a burst, bodies dropping mid-stride. Standard zombie eliminated x7. Gun devil synchronization. Plus 0.01%. Total. 5.45%. The father glanced back, mouthing a silent, thanks, before vanishing into the shadows. Others noticed too. A soldier reloading his pistol paused, watching me ventilate a mutant that had flanked his position. He didn't approach, didn't speak. Just nodded and kept fighting. Survival first, questions later. Or never. Hours blurred into a relentless cycle. Spot, aim, fire, absorb. The system's voice became white noise. Mutated zombie eliminated. Gun devil synchronization. Plus 0.05%. Total. 5.50%. Standard zombie eliminated x9. Gun devil synchronization. Plus 0.01%. Total. 5.51%. Mutated zombie eliminated. Gun devil synchronization. Plus 0.15%. Total. 5.66%. My mind wandered amid the slaughter. Was this what power felt like? Detached annihilation. Kokushibo's kills had been personal, each slice a meditation. This was industrial, efficient, emotionless. I wondered about Arya. Her presence flickered on the edge of my senses, carving her own bloody path. She'd grown, no doubt feeding on the bad ones. Good for her. But then, something cut through the monotony. A mutant unlike the others. It shambled from the shadows of a ruined barracks, its head overgrown with fungal tendrils, plates of hardened mycelium covering its face like a grotesque mask. No eyes visible, just clicking mandibles and spore-dusted skin. It moved with eerie purpose, head tilting as if listening for prey. I froze mid-step, a clicker, from The Last of Us. I'd binged that show in my old life, post-apocalyptic fungus zombies turning people into blind, echolocating horrors. But this world was supposed to be straight zombie apocalypse, virus-based, with mutations from eating humans. Not cordyceps brain infections. Had I been wrong all along? Months of slashing shamblers, and now this. Was this a mixed world, some crossover hell? The system chimed, unbidden. New zombie variant detected, clicker. Origin: Cordyceps brain infection, the last of U.S. Virus explanation: fungal parasite Ophiocordyceps ps unilateralis adapted to human hosts. Spores infect via inhalation or wounds, replacing brain tissue with mycelium network. Host loses sight but gains echolocation via clicking vocalizations. Advanced stages form armor-like plates. Highly aggressive, drawn to sound. Unrelated to primary necrotic virus, potential hybrid ecosystem detected. Hybrid ecosystem, my hair stood on EMD. So this wasn't just one virus. There were layers. Cordyceps here, but what else? Rage virus from 28 days later, turning people into sprinting berserkers. Blacklight from prototype, reshaping bodies into weapons. Green flu from Left 4 Dead, with its special infected. Wildfire from The Walking Dead, the slow burn reanimation. The thought made my mechanical parts whir uneasily. If viruses were mixing, evolving together, this world was more screwed than I'd imagined. But me, I had cheats, templates, systems, devil powers. I shrugged it off, or tried to. Worry gnawed at the edges. What about the people? The survivors scrambling below, fighting for scraps of life. How would they last against layered horrors? Clickers that hunt by sound, mutants that spit acid, whatever else lurked. Should I help them, play hero, or stick to the grind, build power, let the weak fend for themselves? The clicker answered for me. It zeroed in on a fleeing mother and her daughter, the woman's arms wrapped protectively around the child as they darted between debris. The clicker clicked rapidly, fungal head swiveling, then lunged, tendrils whipping forward like living vines. No time for philosophy. I raised the rifle arm, the barrel locking on. Distance was my ally now. Burst fire. 3 rounds to the head plating, cracks formed, spores puffing out. It staggered but kept coming. I adjusted, pouring more lead. The 4th and 5th punched through, shredding the fungal core. It dropped mid-leap, body crumpling like wet paper. Mutated zombie eliminated, variant, clicker. Gun devil synchronization, plus 0.12%. Total, 5.78%. The mother skidded to a halt, clutching her daughter. She turned, eyes searching the dark for her savior. They landed on me, silhouetted against the flickering fires, stepping into a pool of moonlight. From her perspective, he emerged from the shadows like a nightmare in a suit. Tall, broad-shouldered, dressed in a crisp black business suit that seemed absurdly out of place amid the gore. His hair was wild, black strands falling over a face that wasn't right. A smooth, pale skin broken by a cold steel gun barrel jutting from his forehead like a twisted horn. From the back of his head, a hammer protruded, metallic and menacing. His left arm, God, his left arm wasn't an arm at all. It was a rifle, fused seamlessly at the shoulder, barrel still smoking from recent fire. He moved with unnatural grace, each step deliberate, like a machine built for one purpose, death. She was about to stammer a thank you, relief flooding her face. But then the details hit: the barrel, the hammer, the arm. This wasn't a man, this was another monster, perhaps worse than the one he'd just killed. She froze, body locking up as primal terror gripped her. Her daughter, peeking from behind her legs, saw it too, the faceless thing with guns for limbs. The girl whimpered once, then went silent, trembling against her mother's side. I stood there, the system's ping fading in my mind. Help them, or not? The question hung heavier now, but the night wasn't done with its surprises. More clicks echoed from the dark, another pack incoming. The grind continued. 1 comment 0 vote. Aki Hayakawa's grinding. I raised the rifle arm in one fluid motion, the M4 barrel locking onto the space just past the mother and her daughter. The cold steel felt like an extension of my will now, precise, merciless, already cycling rounds before my mind finished the thought. In the stuttering orange glow of burning tents and overturned vehicles, the two of them must have seen nothing but death coming. The mother's face twisted in pure animal fear, she yanked the little girl behind her, both of them stumbling until their backs slammed against the rusted side of a supply truck. The child's tiny hands clutched at her mother's shirt, eyes squeezing shut so tight that tears leaked out anyway. "Mommy, I don't want to." They braced. I saw the mother's lips move in a silent prayer, shoulders hunched like she could somehow block bullets with her own body. They thought the monster had finally decided to end them. The gun barrel on my forehead and the hammer jutting from the back of my skull probably didn't help. I wasn't aiming at them. A shambler had slipped through the smoke behind the pair, rotten teeth already snapping, fingers hooked like claws inches from the girl's shoulder. I fired. One clean shot. The round punched straight through the thing's forehead and out the back in a wet spray of bone and sludge. The corpse dropped with a meaty thud right at their heels, twitching once before it went still. The mother's eyes flew open at the sound. She spun, saw the fresh kill, then whipped back toward me. Her mouth worked silently for a second, the thank you stuck somewhere between terror and disbelief. The little girl peeked out from behind her mother's leg, staring at the smoking barrel on my arm like it might bite her. "Get out of here," I told them, voice flat and metallic, echoing like it came from inside a barrel. "Now, run for the east fence or find the deepest hole you can and stay quiet until sunrise. Don't follow the gunfire. Everything that wants to eat you is heading this way." The mother swallowed so hard I could see her throat move. She still couldn't decide what I was. Human. The suit said maybe. Monster. Everything else screamed yes. But I had just saved them, twice in under a minute. Her legs shook as she forced herself upright, one hand still shielding her daughter. Slowly, deliberately, she bowed low, forehead almost brushing the blood-slick ground. "Thank you," she said, voice cracking but clear. "Whoever you are, whatever you are, we owe you our lives." When she straightened again, I was already gone. I had slipped sideways into the thick smoke between two collapsed tents, the gun arm lowered but still warm. No dramatic vanishing trick, no last words. Just the night swallowing me whole. Let her remember the suit and the barrel however she wanted. I had work to do. The camp had become a living meat grinder, and I was the blade. I moved through the chaos like a shadow with teeth, the rifle arm never resting. A wave of normal zombies spilled around the corner of the old admin building, 40 or more, drawn by the screams of a pinned-down squad. I swept the barrel in a low arc and opened up. The burst was a rolling thunder. Heads exploded, bodies jerked and folded, the front ranks dropping so fast the ones behind tripped over them. Standard zombie eliminated x27. Gun devil synchronization, plus 0.04%. Total, 7.20%. Still crumbs. The system was a miser tonight. I vaulted a burning Humvee, landing in the middle of the courtyard where 3 hightier mutants were carving through a defensive line. One had pulsing acid sacs along its spine, another swung arms that ended in jagged bone hooks, the third was a walking tank, plates of calcified flesh shrugging off rifle fire like rain. I planted my feet and let the rifle arm speak. First burst took the acid spitter midroar, rounds punching the sacs until they burst in a fountain of hissing green that ate its own face off. It collapsed screaming. Mutated zombie eliminated. Gun devil synchronization, plus 0.14%. Total, 7.34%. The bonehook mutant spun toward the new threat. I stitched its elbows and shoulders until the hooks snapped free and the body followed them to the dirt. Mutated zombie eliminated. Gun devil synchronization, plus 0.11%. Total, 7.45%. The tank charged. I switched to the forehead pistol for tighter grouping, 5 rapid shots cracking the plates over its eyes. It kept coming, roaring. I emptied the rest of the magazine into the exposed joints until the knees buckled and the thing toppled like a felled tree. One final burst to the neck finished it. Mutated zombie eliminated. Gun devil synchronization, plus 0.28%. Total, 7.73%. The surviving soldiers glanced at me for half a heartbeat, eyes wide behind cracked visors, then went right back to firing. One actually yelled, "Keep that flank clear," like I was part of the unit. I didn't answer. Let them believe whatever kept them alive. I kept climbing, rooftop to rooftop, using height for better angles. The system never shut up. Standard zombie eliminated x15, plus 0.02%. Total, 7.75%. Mutated zombie eliminated, plus 0.09%. Total, 7.84%. Standard x31, plus 0.05%. Total, 7.89%. Every percentage point felt like dragging a mountain uphill. In the world I remembered from Chainsaw Man, 20% of this power had erased over 1 million people in minutes, cities flattened, skies black with bullets, entire nations silenced in one endless storm. Here, at barely 8%, I was still grinding for scraps. Full synchronization, 100% would be the end of everything. Every zombie, every survivor, every last rat in the sewers erased in a hurricane of lead that never stopped coming. The thought made the hammer on the back of my skull itch. I shoved it down, one kill at a time. Then the clicking started. 2 clickers peeled out of the smoke near the old hospital wing, fungal plates armor plating their heads, tendrils swaying like blind snakes. One had already pinned a nurse against a wall, the other was stalking 3 kids huddled behind a generator. I dropped them before they could lock on. The rifle arm barked twice, clean bursts through the mycelium cores. Spores puffed out like gray snow. Both collapsed mid-click. Clicker variant eliminated X2. Plus 0.21% each. Total, 8.31%. Slightly better yield. The cordyceps strain really did give more juice. The system had been right, this world was stitched together from nightmares. Regular necrotic zombies, acid mutants, now fungal clickers. What else was out there? These people, normal, breakable humans, were fighting a war with rules they didn't even know existed. Should I start hurting survivors? Clear a safe corridor, or keep farming power until I was strong enough to end the whole mess my way? The question sat in my chest while I kept moving. I cleared another wave near the east gate, 20 normals and a pair of bone-plated mutants trying to block an escaping convoy. Bullets tore through them in neat lines. Another clicker appeared on the roof of the armory, head tilting as it listened for heartbeats. I put 3 rounds through its plate before it could click twice. The night stretched on, fires crackled, screams rose and fell, and the system kept its cold count. I was just lining up a fresh cluster when I felt it, eyes on me. Sharp, hungry, not human. Arya had found me. From her perch on a distant water tower, white hair whipping in the firewind, blindfold glowing faintly, she studied the tall figure in the black suit. Gun barrel on the forehead, rifle for an arm, no demon scent, no trace of her lord's familiar blood, just cold metal and death. Her lips peeled back. A mutated zombie or a demon? You don't smell like the two, she hissed. I'll carve you open before you threatens my master's hunting ground. She didn't know, couldn't know, and I wasn't about to shout across the battlefield that the monster she was staring at was the same demon who had given her sight. Arya dropped from the tower in a silent arc of whitened claws, launching straight at me, upper rank fury blazing, blindfold flashing, ready to rip this strange new threat apart before it could steal even one more kill from her lord. The night cracked open around us as she closed the distance. 0 comments 0 vote, Aki Hayakawa vs. Arya. I didn't even have time to process what was happening before the white blur dropped out of the burning rooftop above me. Arya landed in a low crouch 20 feet away, claws already extended and dripping with the dark blood of whatever mutant she had just finished eating. Her blindfold glowed faintly with those crimson upper rank markings, and the killing intent rolling off her was heavy enough to press down on the air itself. She stared straight at me, tall figure in a torn black suit, steel barrel jutting from my forehead like some twisted horn, hammer sticking out the back of my skull, left arm fused into an M4 carbine, and made her decision right there. A monster that can think, she said, voice low and flat. You don't smell like a demon. You're not taking any more kills from my lord's ground. I'll tear you apart and leave the pieces for the zombies. She didn't wait for an answer. Her right hand slashed forward. The blood still wet on her claws hardened in midair and shot toward my chest like a spear. Piercing blood, the lance flew straight and fast, whistling through the smoke. I twisted at the last second, but it still grazed my ribs, slicing clean through the suit and the layer beneath. Black fluid seeped out. The system registered the damage somewhere in the back of my mind, but I barely felt it. That technique hit me harder than the wound itself. Blood control, a real blood demon art. Arya had awakened something this advanced after only a few months as a demon. The way the blood shaped itself, the speed, the way it followed her will, it was exactly like Choso from Jujutsu Kaisen. Piercing blood, same principle, same deadly guidance. I hadn't expected that from her. Not this soon. She pressed forward without hesitation. Another lance formed in her left hand, thicker this time and spinning like a drill. She hurled it while leaping sideways along the wall of a burning barracks. Blood platforms appeared under her feet, giving her footing where there should have been none. I dodged again, but the lance curved at the last moment and clipped my shoulder, tearing out a chunk of synthetic flesh. I let myself stagger, rifle arm swinging wide like I was struggling to keep track of her speed. She landed on the hood of a wrecked truck, lips pulled back in a cold smile. You bleed, what kind of mutant are you? She dropped both palms to the ground. Blood rose around her into a ring of glowing crimson orbs. Blood meteor. She flung them all at once. I swept the rifle arm across, bullets knocking most of them out of the air in bright flashes and sparks. 3 still got through. 1 struck my thigh, another opened my side, the third slammed into the hammer on the back of my skull. The impact rang through my head like a struck bell. Arya saw the hits land and came in closer. A blood whip cracked out from her own wound, lashing across my chest and carving another deep line. She was fast and ruthless, but she still fought like someone who had only been a demon for a short time. No deep battle instincts yet, just raw power and the anger that came from months of loneliness and pain. I kept moving backward through the smoke, rifle arm firing short bursts to keep her at range. She blocked with a wall of hardened blood, then countered with another spinning lance. It punched through my torso. Black fluid sprayed across the ground. She smiled behind the blindfold, thinking she had me cornered. That was when I stopped pretending. The gun devil wasn't just wearing this body. I was the gun devil. Metal was what I was made of now. My back rippled. 6 new barrels unfolded from my spine like steel limbs, each one as a different guns. They angled forward, locking onto her from every side at once. The hammer on my skull clicked once. The forehead pistol stayed trained. The original rifle arm never lowered. Arya's eyes widened behind the cracked blindfold. What? I fired. All barrels opened up at the same time. The roar swallowed the night. Bullets tore through the air, guided just enough by the devil's power to cut off every escape route she tried to take. She slapped up a blood shield, converging blood, but it formed too late. The first volley punched straight through it. Rounds slammed into her chest, shoulders, and legs. Holes opened faster than her regeneration could close them. She spun, trying to leap away on blood platforms, but the new barrels tracked her and kept firing without pause. If she had still been human, she would have died in the first 2 seconds. Her body jerked with every impact. Blood sprayed from her mouth and from the wounds that kept tearing open. She crashed into the side of a jeep, rolled across the ground, and came up gasping for air. Her blindfold was cracked down the middle now. One of the upper rank symbols flickered and dimmed like a dying bulb. I walked forward steadily. The spider barrels retracted and extended again in new angles, keeping the pressure on. Smoke poured from every muzzle. My suit hung in tatters around me. Black fluid dripped from my own wounds, but they were already sealing. The gun devil template did not get tired. It only became more precise the longer the fight went on. Arya dodged like someone still learning the rules. Her movements were frantic now, no longer smooth or calculated. She had been a normal blind girl in a hospital bed only a few months ago. She had power, but she did not have the instincts that come from years of fighting for survival. Every bullet that grazed her slowed her down more. One clipped her blindfold again. Another punched clean through her stomach and out her back. She coughed blood, sealed the hole with visible effort, but her steps were growing heavier and slower. I kept the barrage going. Short controlled bursts mixed with longer sweeps. The spider guns shifted positions constantly, forcing her to keep turning, forcing her to waste energy on defense instead of attack. She tried to form another blood whip to yank one of the barrels away. It wrapped around one of the spider limbs and pulled hard. The gun tore free with a metallic rip, but 5 more grew back in its place before she could even blink. She stared at the new barrels for half a second too long. That hesitation cost her. 3 rounds slammed into her left leg, dropping her to one knee. She pushed up again, breathing hard, white hair matted with ash and her own blood. For the first time since the fight started, real doubt showed on her face. She was starting to understand that she was not winning. She was surviving. I finally lowered the barrels. The spider guns folded back into my spine one by one until only the rifle arm and forehead pistol remained. Smoke curled around me in thick coils. The fight was over. Arya pushed herself up on shaking arms. Blood dripped from her chin. She looked at me, really looked, and confusion cut through the pain in her eyes. "You're not a normal mutant," she said quietly. "What are you?" I took one step closer. The hammer on the back of my skull clicked back into place with a soft metallic sound. Before I could decide whether to answer, she forced herself to stand. Feet planted wide, one hand raised high above her head, the other pressed flat against her chest. Every drop of blood on the ground within 50 feet, every puddle, every spray, every stain left by our fight and the zombies around us, lifted into the air at once. It swirled faster and faster, condensing into thousands of razor-thin crimson needles that floated around her like a deadly storm cloud. Her voice came out steady despite the damage. "Blood demon art." The needles locked onto me from every single direction. I raised the guns again, but the words that left her mouth next made me stop cold. "Blood demon art. Crimson binding chain, maximum output." The needles fused together in midair into one massive blood-red chain, thick as a tree trunk and glowing with power I had not seen from her yet. It shot forward like a living serpent, straight from my chest, and this time I wasn't sure my bullets would reach it before it hit. To be continued.